All right. Hey guys, I hope the righteous are doing well. And I wanted to share a comment that I read that my wife passed along, and then I wanted to also share my reaction to a video that I just watched and put something out there for you guys to think about. And let me first say that there's a group of people that I'm aware of that are putting a list together of all of Obama's unconstitutional activities. And on that list, I think at number 3, I think it should be number 1, but I give him credit. At number 3 is Obama's birth certificate and the fact that he's ineligible. He's ineligible to hold the office of president, which he is. And I read a comment on Facebook, and I wanted to read it to you guys and let you guys decide what you guys think. And then I'll share with you what I think too. Here goes. Here's what the commenter said. I was excited about the potential of this website and what it's promoting. But the first thing I saw was a statement saying Obama's birth certificate was not real. I really don't know if it is or not. I've seen arguments on both sides, and I don't see enough evidence to prove or rather make support one side or the other. I think when one argues the birth certificate issue, it weakens the credibility and therefore their arguments, all of them. I think there are enough other constitutional violations that could be argued without involving the birth certificate thing. I wish they wouldn't have included that. Okay, that's typical American right there. You ain't going to get any more typical American than to take something that is the cornerstone, right, of when you talk about the unconstitutionality of Obama, and you start listing, the Patriot Act, the NDAA, Obamacare, and all the other stuff he's doing, all the other stuff, right? Let's just leave out the birth certificate thing. That's too much for some people to take. Man, I don't know. I don't relate to these people. I don't want to associate with these people. And when God separates the wheat and the tares, I'm going to be obedient to God for as long as I have to be, for eternity. But if God ever says, hey, Rudy, what would you like, my good and faithful servant? If I ever hear that, and I'm going to be obedient for eternity if I have to, but if God ever asks me, what would you like, my good and faithful servant? Separate me from these people. Get me the hell away from them. I don't want to spend eternity with them. I'm tired of being with them here on earth. That's what I'm going to have to say about people who leave a comment like that. And you say, Rudy, you're getting too excited. You're going to blow a blood vessel. You're hurting the cause. Look, if you don't get excited about the fact that we got a freaking foreigner, a Kenyan-born usurper, who put out a fraudulent birth certificate, has a Kenyan-born father, right? There's two things that you can say as a fact. There's two things that you can say as an absolute fact. One of them is his birth certificate is a fraud. It's a fraud. It's a proven fraud. Okay? Sheriff Opio approved it to be a fraud. He's got 50 years service to this country, and we're blowing him off like he ain't got no credibility whatsoever. That's the first thing you can say. The birth certificate Obama released is an absolute fraud. The second thing you can say is his father was born in Kenya. That's self-admitted. Forget about all this dreams from my real father. He admits it, that his father was born in Kenya. Now, when your father's born in Kenya, you're not a natural-born citizen. Those are two things we can say as a fact. The third thing that you can say is almost a fact, and I would go ahead and just say it's the case because he advertised it in his own biography, and that is he was born in Kenya. Okay? His birth certificate is a proven forgery. His father is a Kenyan. He's not natural born, and he was born in Kenya, and he's running our military. He's running our country into the ground, and he's going to be the Democratic presidential nomination. Makes me want to puke. And these people say, well, we don't really know if we want to include the birth certificate thing. We have enough issues to get them on already. Well, look, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And when you guys act concerned and afraid to talk about the number one issue, man, I just don't know. It's like, what is going on? You don't feel comfortable talking about the fact that our president is not a natural-born citizen, is born in Kenya, put out a forged birth certificate, proven to be forged? Okay, I don't want to associate with these people, and may the Lord bring divine justice, and I hope this country reaps what it sows. Because we had a few that stood up. We had a few that had the courage to say the truth. We had a few, right? But I tell you, I'm very disappointed in the support for Sheriff Arpaio. I'm very disappointed in the support for Pastor James David Manning, and I'm very disappointed in the support for Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lakin, that had to go to prison after serving 15 years in our military armed forces. 15 years, and we sent him to prison, and nobody seems to care. Nobody wants to mention it on the news. Absolutely pathetic. Just sickening and pathetic, and we deserve what we get. Now, I want to share with you guys one other thing. I don't know how much time I've got, but let me just share this. Okay, I'm not saying this to whine or to cry or complain, because I'm ready for whatever happens. I pray that God makes me ready for it. But I've been hit 4 different times, and possibly a 5th, where I know the government's trying to send me a signal. One of them is after we had that Dallas convention where many good speakers came and talked about Obama's eligibility, I got a call from my work, who I had worked for over 11 years. I'd worked there for over 11 years, and they said, the HR representative said, Rudy, we've been contacted by the government. They're doing a random citizenship audit. Your name has come up, and we need to see your birth certificate. And I said, I don't really want to show it to you. They said, if you don't show it to us, per the government, we're required to fire you. Okay? So I went ahead and showed it to them, but I made a joke, and I said, well, maybe I should post it on a website with multiple links, and I'll just move everything around, and I'll cut and paste from other people's birth certificates. But, I went ahead and showed it to him because I got one. I was born in Texas, and I thank God for that. Okay, the second time I was hit was the IRS sent me a letter and said, you owe $25,000 more taxes than I owe, and I had to send them a letter back and said, no, I don't. And surprise, surprise, they agreed with me. When is the last time you got in an argument with the IRS without hiring a lawyer, and the IRS just caves in? I didn't expect that. I thought they were going to fight. I thought they might take me to jail like they did Ken Hovind. But I said, Lord, I trust you. Whatever, I'm not going to cheat on my taxes. I made a video about that, and I said I'm not going to cheat on my taxes. And I wasn't going to cheat on my taxes, but I knew that $25,000 they said I owed probably came from them singling me out and trying to intimidate me. Okay, the third time I got hit was the Secret Service came and visited me. Okay, and I made a video where I said, once he's convicted in a court of law, he should be beheaded, which I still believe. Okay, I still believe he should get his due process and day in court. But there ain't no judge in America that's freaking courageous enough to give him his day in court. Okay, so I got visited by the Secret Service, and they were probably just doing their jobs, and I gave them the benefit of the doubt, and I tried to be courteous, and I was courteous, and I opened up to them, and I spoke to them on the front porch while my wife videotaped the whole thing. And I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt that, hey, you guys are just doing your job. I got nothing to hide. Let me just talk to you here on the porch. Well, lo and behold, the same guys went and visited my pastor. They went and visited my pastor, and my name was mentioned. Okay, that's 4 different times. I had to show my birth certificate to ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, or I was going to lose my job. The second time the IRS hit me. The third time the Secret Service came and visited me. The 4th time the Secret Service visited my pastor. Now the 5th time I'm not 100% sure about, but I go to a school in downtown Dallas, and the teacher said, we've had the government come and audit a particular student's attendance. And it's important that when you come to class that you fill out this form properly, and that when you write your name, we can read it, because we've had a government agent come and audit attendance of one of my students. That was exactly what he said. Well, when he said that, nobody really said it was me, but I'm just thinking that was probably me, right? And so that's 5 different times. These guys are obviously investigating me, and I got nothing to hide, so you keep investigating me, that's fine. I probably paid more taxes than all of you combined. Okay, but you know why? Because I saved my 401k my whole dang life, and I pulled it out a couple of years ago, and I don't want any freaking money in a freaking 401k, and when I paid it, I just paid the dang penalty. You ever seen anybody do that? I didn't want the 401k tied up in government assets. I pulled it all out, right? And I had been saving all of my money for my retirement my whole life, but I made a financial decision because I know what gold and silver are worth, and I know what this collapse of this economy is coming, and I know that Obama's spinning us into oblivion. And so when I did that, I paid all my taxes, and I paid the right amount, okay? But these guys, they'll make up stories, man. They'll just do anything to shut you up, just like they did Ken Hovind. Okay, now I'm going to show you a video of a lady that threatened to kill Mitt Romney. And I would ask, do you think she's going to get visited? You know, first of all, is she going to get visited by the Secret Service? Do you think she's going to get threatened by the IRS? Do you think they're going to visit her pastor, even if she has one? And do you think that, they're going to ask for her birth certificate? You know, she looks like she's Puerto Rican. I got no problems with Puerto Rican. I hope they ask for her birth certificate like they ask for mine. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And I hope divine justice comes to the wicked. I'm going to pick up this camera and I want to play this video for you guys. I couldn't download it. It's from the Blaze, but I want to show you what she says. Okay, here it is, and I'm going to try to hold it, and I'm just going to play it. Here we go.
Oh, yes, and if I tell you, Rodney will destroy this country if he became president of the United States. No, I think he will destroy this country completely. Rodney will destroy this country. I don't believe him. If I see him, I would like to kill him.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, ma'am. We appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now, just in closing, did you hear what she said? She said she's at the Democratic National Convention, and she said, if I see him, talking about Mitt Romney, I would like to kill him. Are you kidding me? I didn't hear once he's convicted in a court of law, I didn't hear no due process. I didn't hear her say to carry out justice, right? I just heard her say, if I see him, I would like to kill him. You think she's going to get asked for her birth certificate? Do you think she's going to get visited by the Secret Service? Do you think her pastor is going to get visited by the Secret Service? Do you think they're going to go visit her at her place of work? Okay? Or come to her house? See, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and what's happening is this Secret Service, who's been out prostituting and getting whores, and I'm sure they've hired a bunch of atheists, a bunch of godless order followers, just like the Gestapo and Nazi Gestapo. I'm sure they've hired a bunch of godless, just reprobates who like to hire whores. Not even, if you're going to hire a whore, Secret Service, the least you can do is pay her for her services. That's the least you can do is pay her. I hear you guys, when you hire your whores, you don't even want to pay them. What kind of, that's even worse than an atheist. I mean, that's like a cheap pagan or something. I don't know what that is. But I tell you what, man, if I don't have 100% evidence that number 5, which was they visited my school, was about me, but I highly suspect it was. And I'm just saying, we've got the Gestapo in America. We've got a foreigner running this country, and he's probably going to win again. I know a lot of you think that Mitt Romney's going to win. I don't see it, but let's see what happens. God doesn't give me, prophetic visions, so I don't know what's going to happen. But I tell you what, I ain't voting for a Mormon ever. You could put Satan in the place of Obama. I ain't voting for a Mormon. I ain't going to do it. I'm not. When I die and they put me in the ground, one thing you're going to be able to say about Rudy is that he never voted for a Mormon. And you say, well, the country's going to go to hell under Obama. Well, hey, the country's going to go to hell under a Mormon either way. And the Republican National Convention, the grand old party, should have never put a Mormon. Should have never done it. And his Catholic vice president don't impress me either. And I ain't going to do it. I heard Dietrich Bonhoeffer saluted Hitler when Hitler came by in a parade. I'm not voting for a Mormon or a Catholic or a quasi-Muslim freak queer. I'm not doing it. And, that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to vote for a Mormon, and what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and we'll see if anything happens to this lady. They might go visit her, but let's see how far they take it. I don't even know if she'll get visited. Since she's a Democrat, and since she's Puerto Rican, they probably going to give her they're probably going to put her give her a parade. They'll probably send her money. She'll probably get an extra food card, probably an extra entitlements from the government. May God bless and protect the righteous, and may He bring divine justice to the wicked.